So let's get into it, though. I mean, Colin's notebook. It's expansive. I mean, we got to start with the best team in the country, the LSU Tigers, right? I mean, that feels like a logical place to start.
Absolutely. LSU Tigers, best team in the country. Shout out to Fred Dupree. Thanks for helping me with all the notes with this. And really the Athletic. Pulled a lot from the Athletic, guys. If you want some good college baseball stuff, they have some really good stuff. They polled like what they poll? Probably like 8 to 10 coaches in college baseball and asked them all the same questions. So it was really cool. So LSU last season, they finished with, losing in the regional round. They didn't make it to Omaha. They beat a good Kennesaw State team last year before losing 2 out of 3 to Southern Miss, who was one of the top seeds in the region. Had a stud pitcher transfer out of there. I forget where. He's somewhere in my notes here. But SEC tournament, they beat Kentucky, lost to Tennessee, and then Kentucky knocked them out. So, again, that's a disappointing season. There's expectations there to win the SEC. Jay Johnson, the head coach, he was at Nevada, back in 2015, won a championship, then goes to Arizona in the Pac-12. He wins a championship, in 21. And then, boom, here he is now, like the guy who kind of worked his way up. And LSU baseball has been moderately down over the last couple of years. They used to be really good. Florida was always good at the top. Florida's been down, but not out. They have great players. This is a prestigious place. 6 College World Series championships since 1991, 12 SEC championships since 88. And the best player, Dylan Cruz, top player in college baseball. People compare him to Bregman with more power. Some people are shocked he didn't turn pro out of high school. Really well this summer with Team USA. A lot of people were right. I was reading a lot of articles about how well he looked and how just different he looked. And then Tommy Tang from NC State, Tommy White. I mean, guy's a stud too. They have stud pitchers. Transfer in from, I think it was Stanford pitcher. They have some guys that are coming in and transferring in. And then another note on all of college baseball, how college baseball is different is due to COVID. There's some more developed players. There's some older players in college baseball. You saw it in college football this year. You saw it in college basketball this year. Like every other story is like where the kid transferred from and how many years of eligibility he has left. So I think that is a unique part of college baseball this year to keep an eye on. What do you got on LSU, Jay? Anything I missed?
No, I mean, I just like Dylan Cruz, obviously like the best team in the country, the best player in the country is Dylan Cruz. Like people are calling him like the most obvious number 1 pick since Bryce Harper. There's a guy on NC State, or not on NC State, obviously that was Tommy Tanks, but there's a guy on LSU that I really like. His name's Paul, I don't know, is it Skeens or Skiness? I don't know how to pronounce it right, but he's the only D1 player to reach double-digit figures in wins and home runs last year. So he's a two-way guy, but he throws like 100 miles an hour, but he hits like double-digit home runs. He's probably going to get drafted. Yeah. Like everything you read about LSU is like, this guy is the real deal, but he'll probably get drafted as a pitcher. But that's kind of cool having like a two-way guy. That's like, obviously Ohtani has kind of paved the way for that being mainstream, but I wouldn't mind our guy, Paul, insert the correct pronunciation of his last name here to do the same thing.
Wow. It's good knowledge out of you, Jay. And then, that's going to be, that's a nugget to watch. I'm going to become an LSU baseball fan because we just gave you 8 reasons. So Tennessee, rough start. Lost to my team Grand Canyon on a walk-off. I don't think it was a walk-off. It was a pop fly. They popped him out. Grand Canyon closer came in and sealed it off. But Chase Dollinger, he's one of the best pitchers from Evan, Georgia in the country, right? That's his stick. They lost 2 out of 3 in the Desert Invitational, but that's a team that's really good, really loaded. I'm not a Tennessee fan as being a Gator, but a team that's poised to make some noise. Ole Miss, Jacob Gonzalez, keep an eye on him. He's one of their infielders that runs around and makes tons of plays. Just kind of giving you guys a tidbit for something to watch. And I think the story of college baseball will unravel and we'll find more to just hone in on. But for now, we're just kind of doing an overview of everything. And really it's SEC dominated. LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss. Stanford's the only team in the top 5 that's, not in the SEC. Ole Miss and Gonzalez, Texas A&M, Jack Moss. He's an elite hitter from what I'm reading. Then you kick it down to Florida at 7. I'm a huge Florida baseball fan. When I was at Florida, like I told earlier, we'd go to a lot of games, and I loved where their stadium was. It was right near our stadium. Well, Florida football's facilities, believe it or not, really weren't that strong. We shared a weight room with every other sport other than basketball, which is very rare for college athletics, but was good, and I thought it made our athletics very tight. I met my wife like in the weight room. A lot of people have met their significant others in the weight room, right? So like it was unique culture down there. Well, I knew a bunch of the baseball guys. I'd see them in the morning down there. So in the weight room. So I got to know a lot of people that way. And that's how I got into college baseball, was those relationships. So what they did was they put the stadium next to the lacrosse facility and softball where their Orange Grove used to be. A beautiful field. They leveled it and put a really beautiful baseball stadium there. So I'm a huge, Coach Sullivan there, what they've done over years. He's a UNC guy, but, Florida dominant pitching with some transfers. But can they get consistent hitting? Because, man, the couple of years there when Pete Alonso was there and they had some freaking guys that could rake it in. And that's what they were known for. It's a friendly home run park. It's a great place. I believe they have a beer garden there, J.A. It's nice work. And I think at one point we're going to have a stadium in the week too and talk about different stadiums in college baseball because there's so many good ones. So we'll touch on those. And I'm going to be down at Navy down here. There's a bunch in our area here too where we're at. So Florida, a team to watch this year as well. Really interesting to see how they're going to pan out. I got a buddy there that's really close to the program, kind of giving me information there. Can't disclose his name though. Cannot. Vanderbilt. Enrique Bradfield Jr. Dude can fly.
People are calling him Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton.
Guy can fly. And the turf field there. Fun fact. Home field, turf field in Vanderbilt in Nashville there. So he's flying on the turf. Moving down to North Carolina. Vance Honeycutt, superstar in the making for UNC. So should be interesting to see what they got going on there. That's like another school like a Florida and a Penn State and a Stanford. Like they're just kind of good at everything. UNC, always good. TCU, Braden Taylor, the big lefty. I got to watch and check out on their team. Just bumping through different teams. Down to Miami, a team that was like hot, really good, supposed to be awesome. Lot to really check in there and see with this Miami team now. Walk-off first, Penn State, homer, bottom of the ninth, CJ Kaufus. First pitch in the bottom of the ninth, knocked it out that he received. Offensive MVP of the team last year. So a team to keep an eye on down south, Miami. Penn State travels down there, couldn't handle the heat, J.A. So interesting stuff there out of the ACC. Texas Tech. Okay, shout out to Steve, my brother-in-law. This guy's diehard. I'm going to read his notes verbatim. Super young, super athletic, probably not going to hit as many homers as years past, but they're going to run like the wind. Going to be solid defensively too. Hudson White and Owen Washburn are two of the three returners in the lineup. I assume they'll be the two best players. Gavin Cash and Kevin Basel are probably the two who are going to hit home runs and drive in runs. Gage Harrelson is a freshman who's going to slap it around and steal a bunch of bases. We'll have a shot at Omaha. We'll see what happens. Thinks we'll be a top 15 team. Tadlock, the coach there, is a great guy. Won a conference 3 times and has been to College World Series 4 times since 2012. So unbelievable work out of Steve. Sent him a text. I thought I was going to get a little blurb back. Shout out to Fred Dupree from LSU. I got a blurb back from him. I got a whole dissertation from Steve. So thank you, Steve. We appreciate you here, Breaking Bats and Not for Long Media. So, yeah, lots to unpack there from Tech, a team that I'm going to be highlighting and watching this year. And then kind of the unranked teams that we're going to get into. Maryland's one. We're going to get into that in a second. I'm going to have J.A. talk about that. Rutgers, obviously Brian O'Grady, part of the show. A team people are saying should have made the College World Series last year. Ryan Laska, people are saying he's an elite player for Rutgers. So that's impressive to me that a team, in that area is that good of a baseball program. They've had a lot of players in the league, right? You've had some on the show. You have one that hosts the show. You have, people are saying should have made the College World Series. And then obviously for me, Grand Canyon, of course, team of the week. They got to be an unranked team to watch. So Maryland baseball, I had plans to go to a game this year. Jay, I'll let you know when we go with me and NASA George. We're going to check out one of those Tuesday night 7:00'ers. That's the other thing about college baseball too. Tuesday night on to 7:00. Yeah, swing over. The game's free. Get a beer and a dog and kind of hang out, and parking's nothing. And, it's like a good alternative. Bring your kids. I like it for that way. I really do.